you might want to get a drink, because it might be a long one, just in case you may be thirsty. That hurt to say. I gotta, like, you guys probably groaned. That hurt to say. And yeah, that looks about right. I get that. Just as I've been trying to do when I start these reviews, in case you're an anime only person and you catch on and you've stumbled upon this, I have read the manga and I know what happens. However, I will not spoil anything. I've refused to spoil anything because I'd hate to do that to you guys. But if you're looking for a review which might be more like reaction based from someone who's only seen the anime and their perspective and their speculation on stuff, I'm probably not the person for that. But if you want to stick around, then like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, and that'd be really appreciated. Thank you. But One Punch Man Season 2, One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 4, Metal Bat was a pretty decent episode. Like, I don't have like a lot. There wasn't a lot I was like yes, but there was not a lot I was like or anything like that. It was fine. So I kind of two real purposes of this episode, to me at least. Kind of one was a bit about Goro's backstory in, like, obviously the world of One Punch Man, and of course like to show what Metal Bat can do. And honestly, I thought they did both okay. So this episode starts off with a pretty crucial scene, in my opinion, because it gives kind of Goro's motivation. And I was concerned about this for a bit, because in the manga, you first see this when he first attacks the Hero Association, like in the meeting of all the villains. And like they go over this, and then it cuts to him strangling Magic Man after all this goes on. But you learn obviously his ideas, what it is, like why he likes monsters and why he doesn't like heroes as a basis. Because obviously, you know, he thinks monsters are cool, but he also likes how hard monsters work, and like, you know, they put in the effort and then they get ruined by these heroes who show up out of nowhere and suddenly defeat them. And like, he roots for them because of all the effort they put into this. And you know, this is the basics of it. And as we see from this, Goro has survived his fight with Saitama, because Saitama doesn't kill humans as far as I can see. And from what this is, I think this is a good way to set up him, like, and his like relationship to Saitama, because obviously we've established now that yes, he doesn't like heroes, especially the heroes who win all the time. Sounds like someone we know. And as we see, like, this isn't their first proper meeting, this isn't their proper fight. So Goro is still around, and he's going to grow stronger, but there will come a point where he meets Saitama, and it will be some form of a fight. This is kind of what this meant to me in any case, and obviously the relationship. He is like a natural enemy to Saitama as well, because Goro hates that kind of hero, and that's exactly what Saitama is. He's the hero who shows up at the last minute, when things look worse, and then he just suddenly beats the enemy. So I think that's a great way to set up their relationship, at least. We then cut to the Hero Association, and what I like about this episode as well is kind of, you see there is a bit of a class system in the Hero Association, even between like what the executives of the Hero Association are like, and the heroes, like their relationship. So of course, you know, Goro obviously knocked out one of the top executives of the Hero Association last time, so they want to protect the hero, like, rightfully so. I think this is actually a decent call on the Hero Association's part, like, right, so he's targeting not just the heroes, but us as well, so we need to be protected. So they actually, like, as like a critical point, because obviously, at the end of the day, I suppose if they aren't operating it, you know, the Hero Association can't function properly, but they start assigning the S-classes, like, who could be, you know, I suppose the S-class is bodyguard duty, when maybe an A-class hero, I get why they sent S-class hero, but you know what, A-class hero might have been alright as well. So they send an S-class hero to guard the executives, and the instance we see in this point is we see Metal Bat and Rinky and his son, whose name I can't remember. And this, I think this is a good way to kind of show, like, what the executives are like, because it's shown as well in the manga and the side stories, but like, in this one we get to see kind of like what their attitudes are. And like I said, they are rich and kind of snobby, and that's kind of what the reflection I see. And there are like higher rankings in the Hero Association who are trying to do good. So like Sitch, for example, you guys will know him as the guy who showed up during the monsters, like when all the S-classes gathered. He was the guy who was like, listen, there's a god level threat on the way in the next 6 months. We have to band together to stop it. He's the guy. But there are people like this as well. And like that whole scene where Metal Bat's trying to teach him like how sushi works, like, you know, a common sushi place would work. He's like, no, keep the plates because, you know, we need the bills. And first of all, we did see a good glimpse of what Metal Bat's attitude's like, because last time we saw him, he was just a guy who seemed angry and just destroying everything, and like was very kind of like aggressive. And obviously, you know, he was like, guys, you need to look after this. But he was rightfully angry in this sense, because obviously they weren't listening to him. They would, like, you know, they kept ignoring what he was saying, and they were like, oh wow, this is common. And he's like, listen to me. So when he's like, I'm thinking, so I'm gonna bust their heads in, and I was, and at that point, you're like, you know what, I can kind of not really argue with that Metal Bat. And obviously we get to see a different side of him, because like his sister calls and he's immediately like, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there. So there's a caring side to Metal Bat too. And of course that's when the monsters attack. And that's when we meet Can't remember the other monster, but Sentokohai. And I'll get onto those in a sec. Now, let's just talk about all that bit first, actually. So, obviously, like, this is kind of to show what an S-Class hero can do, like as a lot of them have been doing. Like, we've obviously seen people like Bang and Tatsumaki, and now we've seen Tank Top Master, Puri Puri Prisoner. So it's always interesting, okay, these are like the top level. And I think it's a good job, obviously, showing what we do, because next time we see them, like, they're already defeated. And once again, like, this is back to the Hero Association, like, hierarchy, you know, they're, like, he's literally saying, get away from here to safety, and they are obviously, like, just ignoring him, just taking pictures, and like, oh, wow, this is amazing, take pictures. And then, of course, that's when we meet Reflesidon? No, that's not the name. I can't remember that one. Put it down below. And Refreshidon, I think it is. And Senta Senpai. And honestly, like, this is interesting for me, because Senta Senpai is a monster who has done CG. And normally CG doesn't look that good, but I think for the case of Senta Senpai it works, because Senta Senpai, he's a bit of a creepy bug monster, so obviously like his like sporadic movements and everything like that, he's supposed to be a bit fast. I think that actually worked in his favour, to be honest. I did quite enjoy like watching him move, and I was like, okay, I can be okay with this, because it makes him like look a bit weird. And obviously it doesn't matter too much because Senta Senpai dies in this as well. But I liked how he moved, and that's going to sound weird, but like, it was just interesting. And then of course we get to kind of see like the strength of an S-Class hero in action, because these two, Senta Senpai and the Plant Monster, they are demon level threats. And to put it into context, Deep Seeking from last season is a demon level threat as well, and this is kind of the first. So they are around the level of Deep Seeking. Of course, power scale's different, and obviously matchups. So I would personally put Deep Seeking as a higher ranking demon level threat, because obviously his fights against S-Class heroes. But still, they are quite powerful for their ranks. And Metalbat, sure, he might have been taking damage at first, but that's kind of Metalbat's thing. So like, what he did to react, instead of trying to outsmart them necessarily, is he just kind of pumped up. So he like knocked his sense into him, which I like, because obviously he bats himself back with his Metalbat, and then he just beats them each with one swing, saying the strength of obviously Metalbat. And we actually get to hear Metalbat's theme song, and it's alright, because like, I need to hear it a bit more, but basically it's supposed to be him showing off kind of thing, and Metalbat is just like in the sense of like, you know, it's got the guitar, which is kind of a staple of like One Punch Man theme songs. There's the electric guitar wailing, and then they've got like different elements to them. So Saitama's really just got that in the orchestra. I think Goro's got the choir singing as well, whereas this guy, he's got a bit of a trumpet going, which makes me think, honestly, it reminds me of like kind of like Delinquent and Ruffian kind of style, and it sounds weird, but like that's the kind of tone they give off with Metalbat in any case, because of how he looks. He's a no good Norman. Yeah, wow, what a phrase. And of course he defeats these guys, no problem. And then we of course see, you know, that as it just turns out, it just keeps these bigger centipedes coming. We start with Sentokohai, Senta Senpai, and then finally Sentachoro. Sentachoro, who is this massive, ginormous centipede who's dragon level threat. So let's put that into context. Who else has been dragon level threat? So Carnage Kabuto from the 3rd episode of the 1st season, and the Meteor. Basically, he's at the same rank as those guys, as those threats. Not Boros level, but still incredibly powerful. So obviously Metalbat goes for him, and they, like I said, we basically get to see how Metalbat works as a fighter too, because at first he's like head forward, like bam, I'm just going to attack this thing straight on. Obviously, like, he recognises he can't do damage, but he also did pick up, and like, this is why I like this, and like, he might just seem like a bit of a brainless idiot, like a bit of a knucklehead who's just like, I'm just going to keep swinging until we do. But like, he was actually the first, when they fought against Melzagard, to notice about the gems, and like about breaking the marbles to defeat them. So obviously he picks up here as well that Metalbat's the first one to go, oh wow, like, he's like, well, I went for it and that shell's hot, but he actually avoided me with his head, so I'm just going to go for it. So he manages to leap on, climb on, and goes all out Dragon Pummeling. And, you know, like, the main thing about this is kind of Metalbat showing, like, you know, he just doesn't stop. Like, that's the kind of hero Metalbat is. Like, he won't stop until the job is done. And they even showed it at the end with Garo, and I'll talk about that later on, because now it's time to talk about Saitama, because Saitama has applied for the Super Fight tournament, and of course he's been Saitama. He can't remember the Water Flow Rock Cushion Fist, so it's the Water Polo Carbonated Fist, because it's just whatever you can remember. And then he has an interaction with a man called Sourface. Sourface is used to be a member of the Water Flow Rock Cushion Fist, until obviously Garo had his beat down on all of them. And I like this talk between them, because like I said, it gives a bit of backstory on Garo, like basically what he was like in the what he was like as a student kind of thing. Not a lot, but basically kind of just a little bit of like, you know, how the demise of Bang's school went down. Obviously, like, he participated in the Super Fight tournament. And And of course he, like, it's just those small stuff, obviously, like, I actually didn't know that Bang wasn't even there at the time when it went down, and it makes sense, of course, because Bang found him late. I heard Bang kicked him out because of, like, you know, I imagine Bang was there after he was beating everyone, Bang just finished him off as, like, get out kind of thing, as respect for his top disciple. However, it didn't go down like that. Apparently Bang wasn't even there, which I didn't know. And I've read this down a few times, so I find it's only small stuff, but I'm happy to learn that. And obviously he goes on to, like, pick on Chironko, and he talks about, like, how he's going to be this here, like, he's going to pretend he's fighting Goro so he can ready for a rematch with him. And then this is where Saitama, like, these are some of the things I like about Saitama, is we get to see, like, the heroic side of him, and we also get to see the human side of him too. He talks about Chironko, and I do like that bit, because he recognises, you know, Sour Face, you know, he didn't know who Goro was, and he lost. Like, he didn't, and he fought him and lost. But Chironko, he saw what Goro could do. He heard what Goro was doing. And despite that, he still went up against him and still fought for him. And I think Saitama does respect that to him. Like, he doesn't really know a lot about Chironko, but he at least respects that he went up and fought against Goro. Like, he does say, like, Chironko fought against Goro, you know? And he makes that point of, like, if this keeps going with Goro, I'm going to be the one to end it. Like he's, like, that rare moment of serious, like, it's not, like, super serious Saitama, but it was, like, you know, he's gonna find me eventually, and I will be the one to put a stop to him. And I like, it's like small because of how Saitama is, but like these heroic moments are great. But I also love the human moments. So obviously when he mentions about, like, you know, getting arrested and things like that for false, because obviously, you know, a disguise can be troublesome, so one of Saitama's big things in the tournament has got to be to, you know, keep him disguised as Chironko and make sure, like, the wig stays on him. And obviously he goes on to, like, yeah, because of Goro last year, like, you know, people could get, like, a massive fine or even be arrested, and Saitama's just sweating bullets over this, and it's so great to know that the strongest man in the world is terrified of being arrested, and there's those human elements like that are what make me love Saitama and stuff like that. We also get a scene to do with Chironko and Moomin Rider, and like it's burst in between, like, this whole conversation between Sourface and Saitama, and obviously it's basically them kind of going, like, Chironko being like, oh no, Saitama, I hope he doesn't enter under my name, and then Moomin Rider shows up, he's like, oh, you're talking about Saitama? Don't worry, he's a true hero. And like, the thing I like about this scene is, more than anything, kind of gives us more of an idea of what Moomin Rider sees in Saitama. So he generally sees him as a true hero, and like he's like, and like that's true because Saitama is a true hero because his interactions with Saitama are nothing but good, to be honest. And then of course, like he sees him so much as like a traditional true hero, in the sense he's like, he'd never do that, it's too honourable and just. Meanwhile, he's sitting there waiting, just reading a book, reading some manga. The scene didn't happen in the manga, and honestly, I don't think it needed to happen here either, because like my one thing with this episode has been kind of a bit of pacing issues, to be honest. Like with the series, like I've been like, it's been moving a bit too fast, and like they added this scene in here, and I get it, maybe they have to fill out for time just because of how the content of this episode and how they wanted to end it. But like I would rather them try and like space out other stuff so that this one could have like this one might have flowed a bit better. But then of course the way it ends, it would have been a tough bit to fill in. Like, yeah, I understand why they went for it though with the ending. Yes, so that goes on. Anything else I have to talk about, really? I mean, Goro's there, and he's just kind of doing his Goro thing. He's just like walking around, like he's observing heroes. He makes his target Watchdog Man. I do like that when Centaur shows up. I love the designs of the guys, because it is just like the One Punch Man C-class hero design. I just love, like, here's Mohikutter and Pineapple, and it's just a guy with a mohawk and just a man dressed like a pineapple, basically. I love the designs of them, they're great. And yes, we get to the ending, and of course that's when Goro, you know, he goes after Metal Bat because he hears, like, you know, Metal Bat's fighting this dragon level monster, and he sees Metal Bat flying. And what's really impressive about this, obviously Metal Bat's just gone flying across the buildings, and he's like, oh, well, it's nothing. Metal Bat just carries on like nothing, and he's like, well, I've got to go back and take on this monster. I can't let this go away. And then Goro obviously sees him, he changes into a fight, and that was honestly my favourite bit of the episode. Like, I liked, obviously, like, Saitama being Saitama kind of stuff, and, you know, like, the Metal Bat stuff was fine, but it was just the ending where you get, like, you know, Goro fighting against Metal Bat, like just the very beginning of it at the very least, because obviously, like, you know, just the flow and Metal Bat blocking it with the bat was so good. And mostly with that, I'd have to say words. I'd have to say what I really like is it's just the idea that, you know, obviously the last time Goro fought against an S-class hero, he was, you know, he trounced him when he went serious with the Waterfall and Rock Crushing Fist. Going for like that from the beginning against Metal Bat, he's blocked it already, so it already shows Metal Bat is more of a challenge. Like, you know, like, despite the fact that S-class heroes, there's definitely power scales, and like, all the S-class heroes aren't the same level. And I'm very excited for this, and like I said, I'm not going to spoil manga stuff, but I feel like I can speak for a lot of manga readers where this is a fight we are all genuinely looking forward to seeing. Like, this is probably, for a lot of people, this is the fight they're keeping their eye out on. And like, there are other fights, personally, that I'm looking forward to a bit more because of what they mean to me. But this is a fight and a half. I'm really ready for it. Like, this, I really hope this next fight they pull off super well. They have Goro's theme playing as well, and, you know, it's just, it's great. And what's even greater is, like, Metal Bat still has the intention of going back and facing Sentichoro. He's up against, like, he's been fighting against a dragon level threat, and he sees Goro and he recognises him. He's like, right, taking you down, then I'm going to go take him down. Like, it's just that kind of attitude I love about Metal Bat, where he's like, he's just constantly, like, he will not stop until his job's done. And I think everyone likes that kind of stuff about him. And then we get the ending. Past the ending, we get a behind the scenes clip of two girls wanting to go to the Super Fight tournament, and they bump into someone. And I know who that is, but they haven't revealed his name yet, so just in case anime onlys are watching this, I won't spoil it. And I was very happy to see who that was, because I don't know, like, it was nice. It was like, obviously these girls are like, oh my god, it's you, and they start blushing. He's like, hey, let's hang out, because he's an interesting character. But what I do take from that more than anything is the violins, because his theme song shows, like, I assume that's his theme song because, let's face it, the first time we see him, we hear a new piece of music, so I assume that's his theme song. And it's different to anything else we hear, because like I said before, I feel like, apart from maybe Genos' theme, which I think even Genos has a bit of it, everyone's got a bit of electric guitar, and like I said, we only heard well, I didn't say that, we've only heard a little bit of the theme song, but it starts differently. He's got a bit of violin, and I'm like, alright, I like this, and I'm interested to see if this, like, he gets some, like, great electric guitar violin mashup as a theme song. If it's just violins, I'll be happy just because it's different to everything in One Punch Man, and maybe that symbolises something which I can't talk about just yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Yes. But like I said, I thought this episode was fine. There are things like I liked, so I liked obviously the ending a lot, and I think I generally just liked how they did Metal Bat and obviously Saitama's portrayal, but then at the same time, there are things I didn't like, so obviously, like, I thought personally, like, the scene with Chironko and Moomin Rider wasn't really needed, and yeah, that's it, words, I'm good, I'm a wordsman. Yeah, but thank you for watching. What did you think of this episode? I'd like to know. Watch if you'd like. Yeah, I hope you've watched because you're here now. Comment down below. I'd love to know what you thought. Subscribe if you want to see more reviews and stuff, and give it a like if you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'd like to know what you guys think of this, because is it just me being picky, or do you agree, or do you disagree? Let me know. Cool. Thank you guys.